Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. That over there is Cash Kraus. And today, this is our Foreign Film Fridays.
Yes. But before we talk about what film we're doing,
yes,
we got to bring up some things, though.
Let's bring up a few things.
We got to talk about the poll that we did.
We did do a poll.
We did a poll, and it went better than we could have possibly imagined.
It went really well.
We really thought no one was going to fucking vote at all.
Yeah.
But
we ended up getting almost 500 votes on this thing,
which is fucking amazing.
Really good.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank
who,
everyone that did that. Yeah,
subscribes and is active, comments and everything, because we read them, we see them. It is so hard for us, especially with jobs and running this channel. It's so hard to get back to everyone.
Oh yeah,
but man, we love it. We love the comments. We read through them. It's really great.
And that's how we know what movie we're doing next also.
We do.
So it's good to engage with the community, and they can tell us, because we don't know what's good and what's bad.
And our community page will actually be really active. We just recently got it. And
yes.
We should probably talk about this as well. We just recently hit 1,000 subs.
Well, sitting here right now, we are at 1,400 subs, which is so fucking awesome.
It's really awesome.
I can't believe it. So again, we got to thank everyone that subscribed.
Definitely.
And we'll keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully
because we love it,
and hopefully that people are enjoying it. But but the poll, 38% said
Raman Raghav 2.0 would be our next Foreign Film Friday,
and that beat out Super Deluxe, Deli Belly, and Jalakadu.
Super Deluxe came in at a close second at 27%, Deli Belly 18%, and Jalakadu 17%.
And something we're learning about the Indian folk is they are very passionate about their film.
They are. I love it.
They will tell you why your film from your part of the country sucks and why theirs is fucking amazing. But man, are they passionate, which we love, which is awesome.
Which is what this whole podcast is about, is film, because you and I are just so passionate about films. Yeah. We watch movies every day. And it's cool to have a community now who is also just as interested in film as we are. So.
But man, the comments were going back and forth on why why we're stupid for picking Ramen and why we're geniuses for watching.
So there's a little bit of both. There's some people calling us geniuses and the stupidest people.
But it's mostly been
resounding positivity. Yeah. We've had
I can't believe
overwhelming. Like it's really awesome. So thank you again for everyone who listens and watches this podcast.
Yeah,
this is why we do it.
Hopefully, we'll keep growing.
Absolutely.
But should we talk about what our next poll's going to be?
One other thing, I'm gonna plug one other thing real quick.
Plug away. It's your time.
If you guys could, I'm gonna leave a link in the description for our iTunes. We do not have a lot of reviews on there. We have a lot of podcast listeners, but not a lot of reviews. If you guys could just take like 5-10 seconds, click on that link and leave a 5-star review on our iTunes, it would be greatly appreciated. And something I'd like to do as well too is leave your name at the bottom of the 5-star review, leave a review for the podcast, and we'd like to read off a couple of them once a week on this podcast.
That'd be awesome.
Just shout out to you guys as well too. So if you could click the link, leave a 5-star review, and we'll end up reading a few of them off every Foreign Film Friday.
Absolutely. So. If it's nice, and for sure. Then even if it's shitty, we'll probably read it off. So go ahead.
Preferably positive 5-star reviews.
Well, of course you prefer, but you're always
gonna get
us. Be honest.
Yeah,
be honest. We can only improve with some criticism.
That is very true.
We can't have everyone just kissing our ass all the time, Mason.
You cannot.
That's the world you want to live in.
Well,
but we just can't. It's just not realistic.
Look, you have to be hated to be loved.
Absolutely, you have to be feared to be loved. And that's what we're going for on this channel.
Right?
Is fear.
Fear. Yeah.
First, we let them love, then we let them. They fear us. We let them in.
We are pretty menacing figures.
Absolutely,
so, absolutely.
But yeah, like we said, it's been pretty much positive, and I can't believe it.
I know.
I thought as soon as we got 100 subs, 50% would people be telling us we're pieces of shit.
Yeah.
So, because you only hear horror stories about YouTube.
You do about YouTube comments too, but
and people have been backing us up too. Someone will say something mean, and people will jump on that guy.
Yeah.
Which I love.
I love it.
Keep doing that. Yeah. But should we get into Raman Raghav 2.0?
Let's jump into Raman Raghav 2.0. And the first thing I have to talk about is Nawazuddin Siddiqui's acting.
Well, first thing I have to talk about is how happy I am that this won in the polls, because this was what I was fighting for. Although I really want to see Super Deluxe, and I really want to see Delibate, and I want to see Jalika 2, which we've been getting mixed about that.
We have.
I am so interested in that movie about an entire village hunting a cow for 2.5 hours. I could not be more interested. But yeah, let's talk about Raman Raghav. Like you said, the acting, in my opinion, the acting, and I thought the direction was very, very good. But yeah, let's talk about Nawazuddin Siddiqui, because that guy is fucking
just this role.
Yeah,
and we will get into like critiquing the film later on, but strictly from an acting standpoint, this man is phenomenal.
Well, he went all in.
Yeah.
You can tell he went all in for this role.
Definitely.
And I heard he had to isolate himself for a while, and he said by the end of it, he didn't even like being around himself.
Yeah.
He said he was that.
I could imagine.
But man, he has that power of being so menacing, but being never expecting it.
No.
You know, thinking this guy could not be this fucking monster. But his eyes in this, I don't know how you can change your eyes.
But they did.
But when I'm staring at this guy's eyes, man, I just see like nothing. Mm-hmm. I see it's
When he literally says it in his dialogue in one of the opening scenes where he talks about how his father used to tell him that his eyes would glow like a fox.
a great monologue.
Incredible.
Very well written, very well shot.
Yes.
Great monologue. Yeah, he talks about how he's a night person.
Yep.
And how even his eyes can glow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that is what he is, a fucking night a worm in every sense of the word. But man, so surprising the direction, in my opinion, of how they wrote the cop. How the cop was equally as shitty as the killer. I thought that was such an interesting take on the stereotypical cat and mouse, where it's usually this really dark guy and then this
cop.
Polar opposite.
Yes.
This guy that represents everything good, and then this guy represents every bad. It was not like that at all, man.
No. It was the Raman to the Raghav.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that just shows you just really good direction. And we got to talk about the director.
Which is Anurag Kashyap, who also directed films like Ugly and Gangs of Wasseypur.
Which we have done. If you haven't watched our foreign film on Gangs of Wasseypur,
gotta go
part
watch
1
and 2. Because we couldn't just do part 1. After we watched part 1, we're like, this couldn't get any wilder. This couldn't get any better. This couldn't get any crazier. And it sure as shit does.
Well, it's a 5.5 hour movie as well.
It is.
So we also had to break it apart
into 2 parts.
But yeah, he is. I mean, this film is not perfect, and I didn't like it as much as Gangs of Wasseypur, because I hold Gangs of Wasseypur very high at this point.
Same.
Where I don't think any film for a while is gonna beat that.
No.
But this film, you could still tell that there's something special about his direction, and that he can do everything very unique. Because this felt very different from Gangs of Wasseypur.
It did.
But
almost shocking at times that it was from the same director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that shows you, I mean, that is a good sign where he's not just doing the same thing over and over again. Yep. It's very Tarantino-esque or Scorsese-esque, where he can do a gangster film and then he can do a period piece, and you do so many different... But yeah, it was... it's a crazy film.
It is a crazy film.
It's a crazy fucking
film. Something interesting that I'd like to bring up about this is... In Gangs of Wasseypur, it was so unbelievably violent.
Yeah.
And it would show the gore and show the blood. But with something like with Raman Raghav 2.0, is it never showed the murders.
No, it was always off
camera, or there would be a cabinet in the way or something to that effect.
I think that was done for a number of reasons. One, I think because he made it very clear at the very start that this isn't a movie about the killer. It's about the cop. Yes. They say that right at the start. Mm-hmm. And I also believe, because his previous film, because this film was supposed to be a period piece. It was supposed to be, I think, in the 60s or whatever. But Kashyap, he made his last film bombed. at the box office did really bad, and it was a period piece. So they told him that he would never get funding, so he had to make it current or whatever.
Yes.
So
which is how they used Raman Raghav, but in the future, which is why they named it 2.0.
And we know that Gangs of Wasseypur, because it was so violent, it struggled in some areas to get out, and with like the no smoking thing. So I wonder if that also played a role too.
And I think almost to a point where you're talking about a schizophrenic psychopath, that you almost don't have to show the gore because you already know how evil and sadistic this man is. And you almost didn't have to show it.
And it doesn't really take away from them. The murders are still brutal.
Yes,
in every sense of the word, they're very brutal. But sometimes I think, because I'm not one to say go crazy with the violence, but I think sometimes when you're showing something in a man that's so animalistic, that sometimes a scene can be enhanced by showing just how brutal that. Right. And we know that he's able to do that because with Gangs of Wasseypur, we saw a guy get his head beat in with a pipe, and it showed in very detail a long scene of that man getting beat with a pipe, and that is Raghav's calling card. He loves the pipe.
He loves the pipe. And that is his MO.
And we got to say, this is a true, quote, true story.
There
was a guy that
in the 1960s in Mumbai who was a serial killer who primarily targeted homeless people. He killed 19 people in just 1 year, and then had a resurgence and also murdered more.
And killed around, he said 41 at the end.
Yes, 41 at the end.
And but I don't think there was some crazy fucking cop that was killing just as many people doing this as this. So
some of those things were fabricated, but it was based on a true serial killer that terrified people.
Yes.
Like I was reading up on Raman Raghav, and there was so much fear that people would patrol the streets with sticks, and sometimes they actually beat up homeless people.
Yeah, well,
instead of the actual serial killer.
An alternative title for this movie could have been Shitty Policing 2.0. Because my God, the cops are fucking bad.
So bad.
I mean, and I'm not insulting India, because trust me, in any serial killer case, even in America, if someone had got away for a long time, it's shitty police.
It was always the police. Well, and that's actually like serial killer history in America. Anytime a serial killer killed,
for you could have
caught him 12 murders ago, but the cop work was so shitty that they ended up didn't catching him.
But in this one, he actually confessed early on, and they said, this guy's...
He's delusional.
Don't even look into it.
He read it in the paper.
Don't even look into it.
No. If anything,
and even though the guy was like, maybe we should, I don't know, try to connect him, and he's like, fuck that. Fuck you. We don't need that shit. I gotta go snort MDMA because this is not working for me.
No.
It's just the worst policing of all time.
It was awful police work. They ended up just kind of beating the guy and then leaving him to starve.
Yeah.
Instead of taking him in, really questioning him and seeing if his story checked out. They questioned him.
That was something I found interesting too, was again, it goes to how good Siddiqui did in this role, where I could not tell if he was lying most of the time, or if he was, I couldn't tell if they actually beat him or he was, because we saw that scene when he's like, he's practicing what he's going to say.
To the boys.
My throat, it's bone dry. I only have he's saying it over and over again. And then later on in the bathroom scene with his sister, we see him.
He did the same thing.
I had to starve on rats and stuff. So you start to think, oh, fuck, maybe this is all in his head, because we know he's schizophrenic. He's having vision and auditory hallucinations.
Right, of Death God. Of being sent, from, or being sent to fulfill Death God's wishes, because Death God can talk.
Yes.
To Raman Raghav.
But I'll go back. I love that monologue scene when he's talking about how he killed a guy, and he's like, and then it started raining, and then you hear rain. I love that sound editing. It really makes you feel like you're hearing it from his perspective. Like we're with him on this, because we're hearing what he is with the rain. I love that.
And it puts you inside. It adds another dimension where where you can not only see where he's coming from, but you can hear where he's coming from, and you can hear the delusions within his brain. You can hear the fantasies, and it's creepy, but it's really well done.
And his delivery of those lines is so fucking good when he's staring at the guy and he's asking for the cigarette and whatnot. It's so fucking good.
And whatever prep work Nawazuddin Siddiqui did had to be just absolutely just some of the hardest work he probably ever did, because the way he would look at people terrified me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, in like, that is really hard to do as an actor.
Yes.
And he crushed it the whole time, where every time he looked at someone, I saw nothing in his eyes. And that's a terrifying thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. You want him to stop looking at you, for sure. And the makeup, that scar was fucking awesome.
It looked great, yeah.
Looked really
throughout the whole
good,
thing.
But,
the continuity, too, from that scar.
Yeah.
From point A or from the start of the film to the end was the exact same too. So makeup artist did a good job on that.
Absolutely. And something else I love in almost every Indian movie is the score. I love the score, and I love the sound editing too, where right at the start in that club scene when we first get the cop, and then he sees the girl, and the sound goes completely out. I thought my speakers blew.
I thought the same thing too. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I was like, oh, that's part of it.
And I fucking loved it because they do it again, and then it kind of builds back up. Yep. I love that. And again, the score, the music was really good.
And it's so unique too. Like it's an original thing, like, that you don't see all the time.
No,
or don't hear all the time, rather.
Absolutely, but I love that. The score is good throughout the entire thing. Definitely, it's really fucking good.
Well, I really like the score. I wish they would have used that theme more that they did in the trailer. Yeah, kind of like, it sounded really good.
I like the opening credit scene too, when they're showing him and he's going crazy or whatever. It kind of looked like the Hogwarts photos when they're all going like crazy. I really like that. I like. Not a lot of movies do it, but I like a title sequence in a movie. They used to do that all the time, James Bond still does it. Yeah. But
you got to.
I like a title sequence every now and then,
I know,
something crazy. No one does it anymore.
It would get monotonous if every film did it, but not very many movies do it anymore. So it's like, hey, throw it back in. Give me some.
Make me a theme song for the movie. I mean, that's something India does a lot. They'll make their own, like, a theme song to go with every movie. It's
which is a really good idea.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, like you said, he is completely fucking crazy. Yeah. Crazy, but super manipulative. He can lie to you. Like,
yep. When he can bring on these emotions that, as we said before, he practices. So there's nothing there. Within the character, there's nothing there. He is a schizophrenic psychopath.
And it's so weird he just, like, latches on to this cop. Yeah. He fucking, like,
we find out at the very end of the film why.
Well, kind of.
Well, kind of. I mean,
still like
Raman Raghav murdered the guy.
Yeah.
And then he saw the cop murder the second dude coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like, whoa. And then that's kind of how he got the idea of the Raman to Raghav.
Yes.
And that's why he was stalking him. And
he's like, and again, like you said, at the start, you're thinking, you're not sure, you think, oh, this cop, he's troubled, obviously. Mm-hmm. But then it gets to where, like, oh my God, he really is not the opposite. He is a mirror of Raghav.
He just hides behind. In that monologue,
they're exactly the same.
They are. In that monologue was so fucking good, where he starts talking about, I murder and I kill. Yeah. Without anything, without hiding behind a uniform, it's sadistic and sick and gross, but you start to understand where Raman Raghav is coming from in regards to, like, why he kills and stuff. Yeah. He believes, like, all these people kill, not for, they hide behind it. Yeah. He just is open about killing.
He says at the very end, it's the greatest pleasure. He says, but at the very end, he says, I've had my pleasure, though. No, he's killed 41 people. He's had his fill. Right. And then he gives him, like, he gives the cop, like, the gift. It's like, now I'm giving it to you. Now you can have this pleasure without these restraints, without having to hide or whatever. And man, does that cop get fucking bad quick.
He does.
He is, again, it's not like he's like ripping people off or whatever. Having that, his girlfriend have 3 abortions. Fucking hell. Dark. That guy is fucking dark. And him beating the crap out, and then him bringing a woman home.
Just out of spite, and then not being able to get it up and blame, and then he takes her and kills her, and I'm like, oh my God, this is getting wild fast.
He was, and again, I thought that was such an interesting take on this kind of genre of film, where it's like, you're not rooting for anyone. Like, no, at the very end, I was almost rooting for Raghav.
Yeah, kind of.
You know, I mean
because the cop was so shitty as well.
He was
that you're
so
just
bad. It's like, oh my God. But it's such a weird thing because they start out really far away, and then at the end, they're exactly the same.
The same person.
Exactly the same person. Yeah. And it's this crazy journey of getting there.
It is.
I thought one of the craziest scenes. Oh, go ahead.
It might be the same scene. But one of the scenes that was the most disturbing for me is after he kills his sister and the stepfather.
Well, let's go back.
Okay.
Let's talk about just that entire general of him coming.
In general?
I thought was fucking nuts. Was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, him coming in and just taking over the entire family. And
well, you could see the fear instantly within the sister.
When he first leaves and she breaks down, and at first I'm thinking, oh my God, maybe she's just as crazy as him. And she's just as manipulative. Like she's playing this guy like he's playing everyone else. But no, we just find out he fucking most likely raped her.
Well, because she says before he kills her, she goes, "You don't. You goes, touch
just
my
do it
bosom.
already. Just do it already."
My
she keeps saying, "Just do it," like it's been done before.
And that's where it got real.
Because we see the fear in her face when he leaves. She's just falls into her husband's arm. Right. But
well, she's terrified because she's been abused by her brother her whole life, like severely abused. Like it is definitely apparent.
But something interesting. It never goes back and shows. Again, it's not a story about the killer.
No,
it's not. It's story about Raman Raghav is the cop, but it's a story about Raman. You know, it's a story about Raghav, not the story about the killer. So it never goes back and shows like how he became this sadistic fucking psychopath. But you know, something crazy had to have happened.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so he does. Yeah, that scene where he takes her sister and fucking just delivers a heavy blow. With
I had thought he had killed. This was crazy. So he's about to leave. He grabs the pipe, and because the sister says that she had told him a lot, or the stepfather, her husband says that she had told him something about Raman.
Yes.
And he comes in a pipe and hits the guy over the head. And I'm like, fuck, did he just kill him?
That scene is so good, though, when she's giving him food and you see, because he's a paranoid schizophrenic, and you see he's talking about it and he's like slowly convincing himself that they're against him.
Yes.
He's like, what did she tell? What did she tell? And he's just like prodding. And then he starts looking around and he's like, oh, fuck, I can't trust anything because he's mentally ill.
Yeah.
But it's such a good scene because you could see the evolution in his head.
Mm-hmm. And then, that's so hard to convey as an actor on screen.
Yeah.
And do it convincingly where your audience is really going to believe that.
Yeah.
That's why, like, Nawazuddin just absolutely, like, I know I keep saying it, but he just...
I know.
It was one of the better performances I've ever seen.
Watching this, I think he would make such a great Bond villain.
Yes.
I think he'd make such a good, because he's obviously a very good character actor. Mm-hmm. So I think he'd make such a great Bond villain.
Someone's got to call him up.
He's so unimposing. Mm-hmm. You think this little...
I mean, he played Faisal in Gangs of Wasseypur. He's supposed to be small in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this, man, it's a different character than Faisal, where it's just like, immediately, this guy is fucked. This guy, there's something wrong with him.
Right.
Because anyone that talks to him, he just stares him in the eye and they'll go, oh, geez, there's something not right with this guy.
Right.
And I've heard that with serial killers, it's like it's almost something you can tell. Mm-hmm. It's like apparently they give off a smell too, a certain scent that serial killers.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Isn't that fucking weird?
Yeah, that is.
And it's something with like not being hugged enough as a child, so you don't release this certain hormone. Wow. But I hear it's like a damp smell that's like indistinguishable. Yeah.
Brutal.
But it's a thing that people know immediately. But yeah. And so he does that scene with the sister, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's a very well done scene. And
then right after that, he gets the boy, and he's had the boy tied up this whole time.
Yeah.
And this kid is 6 years old. And Raman Raghav just sits there, and he just tells the boy, he had just murdered his mother and his father right in front of him. And then he tells the little boy that he's going to murder him.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You're what am I going to call you?"
Yeah.
Pocket.
And he's still talking shit about the family.
Yes.
Like that fucking sister, that conniving, and he's
and
still
if that even was your dad and stuff like that.
And he brought that up the entire time. I don't think that's your kid. He kept saying it too. But you just see, he's just poking, prodding any way that he can.
Right. Well, and he's also, again, he's also convincing himself that his sister is that way.
Yeah.
Because it was a general escalation.
And at the end, you could was obviously in his head that she was bad at all. He was just a fucking monster towards her.
Yeah.
And she fucking hated him. And the brother-in-law knew that she hated him. So, but he kills him. He kills the kid. Again, she kind of shows it off camera, but it's brutal nonetheless because they leave him there for 5 days. 5 days, straight.
And then the detectives come back in, and the flies are everywhere.
And this fucking cop, he's doing coke off the
plate. There's a triple homicide.
An active crime scene.
Just the audacity. I just cannot believe it.
Just wait. I
know.
Do it in the car like a normal man.
Right.
God damn.
Do it off your freaking
your
top,
dash.
Man. Gosh.
Not it.
So inconsiderate.
Yeah, but this again, that fucking cop character. It starts out with you think this guy is fucking crazier than anyone. And then the level changes where it's like, oh my God, the cop he's the fucking craziest one. He's just, again, hiding it. Mm-hmm. But this movie, I like what they did. It's set up in chapters. I like that a lot. 8 different parts.
Yeah, I did like that.
I like the one where it's the hunter or whatever, and he's hunting the maid. Remember? Because he's got the vision, the eyes,
the binoculars.
So fucking creepy.
And I gotta say too, I loved the poster for this film.
I thought so
cool.
I thought that was gonna be. I know, and I thought that was gonna be real stupid. Like, what is he doing? Binoculars or whatever?
It worked though.
It fucking works because it just magnifies his horrifying eyes.
It does.
But he's everywhere. He's because he's obsessed with the cop. He's watching him constantly. And still, there is some light, funny scenes in this. I mean, it's not nearly as much as Gangs of Wasseypur, but the scene when the cop is talking to the girl and he brings his gun out. It's a big, long speech or whatever, and she gets a phone call and just fucking bails on his speech. Like, obviously, she's been with him for so long that she's not scared of him at this point. He's this big, menacing man, but I thought that was pretty funny. But him hunting the maid, when it pans over and he's on the roof looking down, that was fucking horrifying.
It was.
And stepping over the guy that's sleeping, and the guy just, what the hell, wakes up,
and then he just beats him to a
pulp. Brings that fucking pipe down. The pipe's got to be half his fucking weight. He can drag it. He can barely lift the thing.
I know. And something else that I found, which again, it's the little details that I appreciate so much, because he kills that man. He goes in, he kills the maid.
Yes.
He feeds the baby.
I know. And
because Death God did not tell him.
Yep. And that scene is crazy because you're like, what the fuck is he going to do with this baby?
Yes.
And then the maid, and then another lady comes in.
Yeah, the elderly lady.
And he doesn't kill her, though.
Nope.
He doesn't. But the craziest thing is, when he's giving that monologue at the end, he's like, I never kill anyone on accident.
Yeah.
He's like, it never just fucking happens or whatever. It's just like, it's like he's being told immediately to kill someone.
But again, it goes back to the very first scene when he talks about finding Death God and how Death God tells him and summons him and calls him to kill these very specific and certain people. And that's why I really felt like that specific scene was so important to the character, because it does show you that he doesn't just kill everyone. It's only the voices in his head that are telling him the certain people to kill.
Yeah.
Which is, schizophrenic.
It's cool. It just gives so many more layers to the character, that he's not just going around murdering everyone. Yeah.
Right.
Because he worries about money a lot.
He does, even though not a well.
It's a big part. No, he's not real
counter.
great. He's got to pawn almost everything off immediately.
Does.
Yeah.
Well,
I love he tried to scam that 15 plus 5. That's 25. Like, is he banking on this guy not knowing basic math? This guy who runs a loan business.
Right.
And he goes, what the fuck? And he's like, I will count it out for you. And he brings the money out. Mm-hmm. But that guy
paid for betraying him, though.
Absolutely. He goes in and he cuts. And that's a crazy scene, too, because he's covered in shit, remember?
He is. Yeah, because he was hiding from.
From the grand escape, the fucking great escape. He just runs off.
We got to rewind a minute, okay? Because again, you want to talk about awful police work. This was so bad. You have the killer within your grasp. You know it's the killer this time, and you just let the guy run off.
He just takes off. It's not like he climbs out a window or anything. No. He just
like Ted Bundy. No, he
looking around a little. Then he just takes
and they're takes off his little vest thing,
and he's gone. Yeah, miles away at that point. It's just, I mean, in India, it's fucking hard to find someone. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine pre-cell phone days, just trying to track down someone. I mean,
for sure. It'd be so hard.
But the getaway was kind of cool with him diving into the
sewage kind of water or whatever that was. Yeah. But very, very, almost like it had a very good horror element to it when he's in the room, though, because he is covered in shit.
Well, and he's got the glasses on still.
And he looks like a monster.
Yeah, because that's what I thought. Is this a vision or something? I thought it was almost a dream of him. Like him being like in the embodiment of a demon.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But
no, I thought it was some sort of monster.
He's just so fucking crazy. He didn't even go take a shower. He got right at the climbed out of the sludge pile and was like, I got to go right to work. And
time is money. I got a business to run.
Hopped on those shades and was like, let's go. Let's get to business.
Oh, God.
He doesn't pipe that guy, but he does slit his throat.
He does. And unfortunate for him, he passes. But again, does not kill the woman in bed.
No. She didn't wrong him.
No.
You gotta have some restraint.
You do have to.
That makes a good serial killer. You can't, I mean, if you go berserker mode, they're gonna catch you immediately. So you gotta scatter them. But I mean, he was just kind of, really willy-nilly.
Yeah.
This guy looks at me wrong, I gotta pipe him. And at one point he loses his pipe and he's gotta go make a new one.
He does.
For some reason that was like something they had to show. It was like,
I know.
We have to know continuity of how he got this new pipe. Like, I could have just believed he picked it up.
He picked it up somewhere. Yeah, because I mean, pipes are a dime a dozen.
Because he goes to the pipe pile, the city pipe pile. I don't know what it is. He's just scrapping through. Remember, they don't allow him to have one. But then he goes. Again, that may be my biggest complaint is there were some scenes I felt weren't needed.
That's what we should talk about. Yeah. Some of the things that we can critique. One of those being the pacing of the film.
I think it went a little long.
Yep. Yeah. And the editing for me was at times a little I don't know, a little choppy in a way, like where it didn't exactly lay it out the way I would have expected it. And I think it goes back to more of a pacing issue than the editing issue.
Yeah.
But the pacing was slow at times. And sometimes I felt like certain scenes were not needed.
I didn't mind the editing because it felt, it was that kind of experimental kind of thing, where it was this craziness of going on because maybe the editing had to be mirror what was like going on through the character's eyes. So it was real. So I didn't mind that. But like you said, the pacing, I think the third act, which is a very common thing for them not to be able, the third act to be a little long or something like that in any movie. But I think this one, the third act, it starts off really, really hot and gets really going. The third act just goes a little long. And and there's so much time spent without even seeing Raman.
Yeah. Yeah, Nawazuddin's character.
Yeah, we get so much time with Raghav, with him going and seeing his dad.
Yeah,
shit like that and all that. And I just thought, I guarantee people will definitely disagree, but I just felt like that because we see there's so much time spent without seeing Raman that you almost forget that he's there. Mm-hmm. And I know the movie's not about the killer, but it's called Raman Raghav 2.0, and he is arguably the most interesting part of the film. Yeah, so definitely. It could hurt your film not to show him for so long. That is my biggest complaint. Is the third act I felt just. If it was cut down maybe another 20 minutes or 10 minutes even, then maybe it could have been a tighter film.
Yeah.
But I felt it went just a little tad bit too long.
Right.
Not to say that the last 15 minutes isn't great, but
the payoff's great too when you kind of understand why Nawazuddin Siddiqui, Raman Raghav is saying that Raghavan,
yes,
and is kind of Raman to his Raghav. Like it all made sense why at the very beginning of the film he was out at the police station as well, because that was something that at first I was like, oh, okay, I guess he's observing, but then you see deeper into it in the third act that the reason why he was at the police station was not just to observe police officers; it was more specifically to survey Raghavan.
Yeah, and it ties it together because at the start you're not sure who kills that second guy. You know, you kind of almost thinking it's like a flashback of like he was still stuck around, and then so like you said, it really ties it together nicely. But I just think that previous 30 minutes could have been cut down a lot, to get to that end, because the end is very, very well done.
Yes, and the payoff is worth it.
Yeah, you just wish it happened a little earlier, I guess.
And I love the final scene, too, because you really see that they are the exact same fucking people.
It's dark, yeah.
Because they murder Ankita, which is the girl that came over.
Well, came over. He picked her up in a club and brought her back to the house with his girlfriend still there.
Still at the house, yeah, which is a problem.
But yeah, and I liked. I'll jump back a little, but I like that scene when he's talking to his girlfriend, and then he kind of goes to the bathroom and breaks down. Mm-hmm. So we know he's shitty, but we know he's still this multi-dimensional character that you still kind of feel for him. Mm-hmm. But that's the last time you fucking feel for him.
Yeah.
Because after that, he's a piece of fucking shit. And you see that his dad was a big piece of shit too, and he abused him. But again, I don't think you need to show that. You just assume that.
Yeah.
You assume that this guy just didn't wake up one day and was like, okay, I'm going to be the worst cop in the fucking world.
Because I believe before they even went and saw their dad, his dad was brought up at some point in the film where you knew right away that he didn't have a good relationship with his father. So you didn't necessarily have to show all of it.
Full scene, that 20 to 30 minute scene of him going and getting. But there is a funny scene when he goes to see his dad when he's got sunglasses on. And he's like, take your sunglasses off. And he looks at the guy right with him, and he's got sunglasses on. He's like, what the fuck?
Well, and then he's just berating him in front of all those people, too. And you're just like, man, this guy's probably got to feel like a teenager.
Coke under his nose. I mean, when he comes in. Yeah, obviously. But like you said, that ending is brutal.
It is.
When Raman says, he goes, you're like me. He goes, but I'll take the blame for Simi, which was his girlfriend. He goes, that's on me. You have my word. Because they're soulmates. Mm-hmm. He says that. He goes, soulmates. Some people think it's got to be a woman and a man, but no, it could be just a fucking friend.
Yep.
Just some guy that's literally linked to you somehow, some spiritual way or something. But yeah, he was right. They're fucking soulmates.
Yeah, they were.
That's a power couple.
Well, because Raghavan had no problem killing Ankita at all.
Yeah, because he says that's the only, and it's almost like a rite of passage, though. You know, that he could have obviously killed Ankita himself. You know, Raman could have. But he needed Raghavan to go and do it to really
pass the torch, man.
To really complete that they are exactly the same. And I like that it did end that way, and I like that it ended very dark. It wasn't this happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, like, oh, we caught the serial killer. Everything's
this guy gets a fucking medal or whatever. This guy's a shitty cop, and he's going to remain a shitty cop.
And that is like an astounding positivity or a positive thing to say about this film is it does take a brand new twist on that.
Yeah,
where the ending isn't happy, where the serial killer gets caught. And the police, get a promotion. It wasn't that at all.
No.
If anything, it was more dark than the actual serial killer because you come to realize that these two men are one and the same.
Yeah. It's not what I expected going in, where I really thought it was going to be this mystery thriller. It's not that at all. No. They're horrible cops. They end up catching him just fucking out of luck.
Yeah.
Well, I think he might have even turned himself in at the very end. I don't think maybe they didn't even catch him.
Yeah, he did. He was right outside the window when they were looking down.
Yeah, so it's not this thing like he did it from great police work or anything. It's really just like a character study of these two men that are in different circumstances but are exactly the same guys, which I liked. I like that twist and that surprise, which I think is something that we were probably going to keep seeing from this director.
Yeah.
Is every time you think you know where he's going to go, is he going to twist it on your head?
Yeah. And something that he always does so well is the dialogue is always on point, man.
That's something I wrote down. The dialogue is
fantastic.
Fantastic. And it feels so organic. It does not feel overwritten at all.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like breathy or lengthy where you're like, oh, shut up. Another monologue. Fuck.
Or there's so many movies that feel like, oh my God, obviously that guy had like a written speech ready for this moment. And it feels so unnatural. That's not it almost feels like improv at some point. But I just think it's really, really good writing.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But so what do you think about it, Mason? What is your final verdict on this? What do you say?
Pleased I watched this. if not for anything, which again, the story was great. It wrapped up the film really well. It took an interesting spin and turn on it that I absolutely loved. But man, Nawazuddin Siddiqui, that is the highlight, the number one thing I'm pulling out from this. I got to go through this guy's filmography and literally watch every film he's ever been in.
I got to say that, and everyone was in it was awesome.
Yes.
I mean, it was just one of those things where I think this director just has this eye for talent, or whatever, the casting director maybe has this eye for getting all these, because the sister worked, and even Simi was really fucking good. We barely talked about her, but she played a big role, and a difficult role too, with playing that abused other half of this fucking psychopath. But man, she was messed up too, with him after 3 abortions, and that line that you can't get pregnant, and this guy refuses to wear a condom.
Well,
it's wild.
He's just a man who can't accept accountability for anything.
Well, he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
By all means, yeah.
Right.
He's a psychopath for sure.
But yeah, overall, I just another really good film. I enjoyed this. I did have issues with this one, but they were so minor compared to what
probably
how good this actually
I'll
was.
say probably out of Gangs of Waisapur and Handan, this is probably my 3rd favorite. What we reviewed, but that doesn't mean that it was.
It doesn't mean it wasn't good.
Bad at all. But we just reviewed 2 very good films. But this is probably my 3rd. This film isn't perfect, but it's definitely enjoyable and definitely worth watching, I would say.
And again, it's different. It's not your stereotypical serial killer film. It really does something unique and something that I've never seen before in this genre.
That is the takeaway. It is very, very creative. Yeah. It is very creative and very unique. And I like what they did with that cop and making him just a horrible person. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I mean, I really have. I mean, there was no one to root for in this.
No, there wasn't.
There's no one. I mean, maybe Simi, you wanted her, but
which
she got it bad.
Something that you can do and really fuck up too is you cannot be rooting for anyone, which sometimes in film makes you not care about the characters. But in a weird way, this film, you weren't rooting for anyone, but you were invested into the characters and trying to figure out like what was going on or how Raman Raghav was thinking or why he was doing what he was doing. So it really was good on them to be able to do that, because that's hard to accomplish.
Yeah, you can have characters that are just shitty and one-dimensional and it never makes for a good film, because you got to have some kind of element where you can see because you got to be leaving the audience wanting to know why these characters are making these decisions, what drives them. Yep. And a lot of the time people will just make these one-dimensional characters that their only background is that they're bad, which is not, it never makes for a good film. You know,
it doesn't.
No one is just ever just bad.
Yeah.
You know, there's this multi-dimensional, and that's what Kashib does pretty well. But,
he does.
That's all I got.
All righty. Well, that is our Foreign Film Friday for Raman Raghav 2.0.
Yeah, vote.
We will be putting in our community page our next 4 films. I think what we will just do is we'll put Jalika 2, Super Deluxe, Deli Belly, and then the 4th one we're going to replace.
We forgot to talk about it,
We did. And then the 4th one we're going to replace, since we just reviewed Raman Raghav, but we have decided we are going to replace that with Dongle. Which is one of the highest grossing films in history.
It is the highest grossing Indian
It is
film.
Still.
But so that will be our 4th one. So go back if you voted last time and your pick did not get picked.
Vote again.
This is your fucking chance.
This is your chance.
Jalika 2, that is the black sheep of the group.
It is.
But something
one of
crazy
these days
could happen.
that's going to get picked.
Something crazy could happen.
It could, unquestionably. Alrighty. Well, you guys check out our social media pages. Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter. That's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. You can find our podcast on all platforms. Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher. Jeez, I don't know.
You got it.
I'm getting there. Alrighty. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Mason Knight. That over there is Cash Krause. And until next time.
Bye.